Hello. Hello everybody. It is stream time. It is art stream time. Which uh means low energy streaming. Usually. Usually that's what that means. So enjoy. We're gonna have a chill time. We're just gonna draw some stuff. I'm gonna be drawing multiple things. This is just something I was doodling on my own, just because I'm in a Legend of Zelda mood. So yeah, that's what we're working on right now. I know I haven't really like streamed on Sundays in a while, but I don't know. Today I kind of just felt like doing it. So yeah, we're gonna be. So I don't really have a lot of like I don't really have a lot of stream intro like whatever. I don't know. I just wanted to go live and draw a little bit. There's not really much thought put into this, so enjoy. Why did the moment I clicked into Clip Studio it started? What? What's going on? For some reason, Clip Studio is now frozen. I don't know what this means. Hello? What is happening? Why is it frozen? Hello? What's going on? What is going on with Clip Studio? Why is it doing this? Okay. I don't know why it's crashing. Wait, is fuck ass Microsoft Copilot back on? It's not, but everything else is on. What the fuck is this? Nvidia settings? Fucking exit Nvidia. What's all this nonsense? Do I have to restart Clip Studio? What is happening? Hold on. Oh, never mind. It fixed itself. That was weird. I don't know what was going on with that. I don't know why I did that. Everything good? Alright, everything seems to be good. Alright. Whatever, weird. Hey, Rosie. Welcome. My model's frozen? That's weird. Looks like it's fine now. I think it was just because I was looking down, so it wasn't picking me up. Yeah, I think it was just because I was looking down, so it wasn't properly capturing my face. That's weird. It is kind of lagging a little bit, though. Why is it doing that? Camera position should be okay. That might just be VTube Studio being weird. I don't know. My PC's been acting kind of weird when it comes to some programs. I do think Microsoft Copilot just like broke a bunch of shit on my computer in the process of trying to uninstall it and all that shit. Pisses me off. Like, girl can't stay, but just wanted to say hi and cooling. For sure. Thank you for stopping by. I appreciate it. Okay. Why does my model keep freezing up so much? What is this? Hold on. Let me reset it. Maybe my phone. Hold on. Reset VTube Studio. Maybe that'll help fix it. Ah! Ugh, okay. No? Hello? It's still freezing? What is this? Oh yeah, VTube Studio on my PC is just straight up crashing now. Okay. That's good. Why does nothing in my fucking computer ever want to work? What is going on? Bro, first Clip Studio wasn't working. Now VTube Studios doesn't even want to. Can you close? Hold on, Steam, stop this. Exit game. Yes, please close it. What is this? Bro, why it doesn't want to close now? What is happening? All right. It finally decided to close. Jesus Christ. It's not it's not really affecting like the stream too much. It's just like I don't know. I would love to be able to actually capture my face. Is that are we good, VTube Studio? Are we bueno? Are we gonna work properly now? I don't even know what the hell caused that. That was a weird one. I don't know why I was doing that. Anyways. Oh, God. I'm in a weird mood today. I'm in a bit of a weird mood in which a lot of small things are making me angrier a lot faster. I don't know. Specifically when it comes to like tech and stuff, it's just like why does everything need a break all the time? I hope it's working fine now. Hopefully, I don't know. I just started doodling Ocarina of Time Link like the other day, and just decided, why don't I do this as like a practice thing for something more dynamic, and that's how this came to be. I don't really draw Zelda stuff that often, surprisingly, for how much I actually enjoy the franchise. It's like one of the few that I don't. There's actually a lot of franchises that I realize I don't draw fan art for, despite being a huge fan of. Probably the biggest one and the most like weirdest one that I don't draw fan art of is like Final Fantasy VII as much. I don't know why. I'm a huge FF7 fan. Never draw stuff for it. I don't know. I think I'm also at a point where I'm like, there's certain fandoms that I want to avoid online, so I just straight up like don't draw too much of that stuff. You know, it's funny I say that, yet I'm drawing Tifa a lot lately, but I guess that's like the only thing. But yeah, there are like some fandoms these days where I'm just like I don't even want to like go near drawing anything for that fandom and like attracting the wrong kind of people. So I stick to fighting games. Most of the time when I draw fighting game stuff, it's pretty chill. And it's mostly older folk. So I don't have to worry about a bunch of children showing up in my replies and whatnot. Link looking very cool, by the way. Thanks, Rosie. See. Okay. Hmm. Okay. I think I'm done with this doodle at the very least. Mm, uh, don't sit on your foot, everybody. Don't do that. It's not a good idea. Sorry I'm so quiet. I like, I don't know. I'm in like drawing mode, so I'm like a little absent-minded right now. I'm like just going along. You know, like just in that drawing mood of like kind of turn brain off and whatnot. It happens. Happens from time to time. This isn't the thing that I was gonna work on for this stream though. It was gonna be this. I was just doing the link was just more of a warm up. This is what I'm actually working on. So we're gonna work on this. That is not what I meant to do. On this Tifa dressed up as Jury. This was requested by people, so I'm gonna do this one. This one I already had sketched out, so I don't have to worry too much about that. Man, why am I not drawing properly right now? Oh yeah, I released a new YouTube video yesterday. Hope you guys checked it out. It's nothing that crazy, but it was just something I'd been wanting to make for a bit. Ever since I had that like little discussion on stream, I suppose. So, hope you guys enjoyed it. It was me kind of just talking about my thoughts on Star Fox. Is that the brush I want to use for this? Oh, do I want to use just this one? No, was this one? No, this one? No. I know that it's not like the most whatever involved thing or whatnot. I just want to get better at doing the whole YouTube thing, and I figure doing more like not low effort, but like not heavily edited, just these kind of long form talks about things, especially bits from stream. I feel like are I don't know. I feel like they are a good way to kind of have something to go on there, you know, and especially because not everyone watches the stream, so not everyone gets to see like, you know, my little takes on things, especially relating to character design and art. So, you know, figure wouldn't hurt to edit it down and turn it into something, especially with like the game being right around the corner. So, if you checked it out, thank you. Thank you for checking it out. I know most people do not come to me for that kind of stuff. Most people just come to Crow Corvalwing for his art or whatnot. I don't even know. I don't know why people watch or check out the things that I do. I think people just show up. They just wander in here and they're just like, I guess, yeah. I've kind of stopped trying to figure out what the people even like of the things that I do. I just kind of do things and then just hope something works. Because I feel like if I sit here and try to like guess every single time, I'm just gonna go crazy. Know what I mean? I don't know. But I'm grateful to anybody who does decide to check out the video and whatnot, and decides to subscribe to the YouTube. I'm planning on doing more stuff. I think next I'm gonna try and do an art book video because I think a lot of people like when I do those. Especially when I used to do those. And I stopped doing them for a bit. But I'm trying at the very least. I'm trying to do something with all that, with all this, you know? Just trying to see what works, what sticks, what doesn't. It's tough. I like keeping busy, but at the same time it's like, you know, I also want to do things that feel motivating. And so it's hard to kind of like find what that is, you know? I don't know. I think when it comes to like streaming, YouTube and just VTubing and all that stuff, it always does feel, I don't know how to say, it just feels confusing sometimes trying to figure out like, you know, just trying to figure it all out, I guess. Like what is your niche? What are people clicking on? You know, what do you do that is like everyone's like favorite thing to do? I don't know. Because it's like half the time you'll ask and then you'll either get conflicting answers or you'll just get nothing. And then you're just like, well, that didn't really help. You know? Okay. Also, do people? I gotta ask this for anybody in anybody in chat. I just like general. If you're in the Discord, do you guys actually get going live pings and notifications? This is like a legitimate question. If anybody can answer me that, like I need to verify that people are actually getting like going live pings. You know. Yes. Okay. Just making sure. Because there's apparently been some shenanigans in the Discord where it's like I don't know if things are actually working or not, and nobody has told me whether they have been or not. So I'm over here like posting the going live things constantly, and now I'm just wondering, is anybody even actually getting those? Announcement channel was hidden behind fuck all permissions for some reason. I don't know why nobody told me anything. Oh man, Oomph-chan, it's fine. It's just that if nobody said, because I don't know, I don't do Discord. Like, I really, legitimately, the only reason I have Discord up is just to ping people, like, just to ping, like, hey, I'm live, and that's pretty much it. So it's like, I don't mess with anything else. So as far as, like, all that other stuff is concerned, I have no idea. You know, I'm not a Discord knower. I think I made her hair too tall. I think her hair should be more like... Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I'm not like the biggest, like, I'm not that tech savvy when it comes to Discord and whatnot. Half the time I don't even like, I don't know. I'm not one for like community servers and all that stuff. I think I've said this before on stream. But part of the only reason I have the community server up is literally just because people asked me to have it, and then because it just pings people. But like personally, I could do without it. I think there was a time when I was like more into the idea of a community server like years ago, right? But I think nowadays it's like I don't really know what I'd even do with it. Like I don't really host events. There's not like a lot to really like share. People aren't super active in it. So I'm like, I don't know. It's one of those things where I'm just kind of thinking about like what do I do with it? You know? Very fair and true. Mm. Yeah, no, that was just some thoughts I was having about like the Discord stuff and whatnot. I don't know. I think my community is like a community of a lot of very quiet and like introverted people. So I don't think the Discord really does much for anyone. So that's why I kind of just keep it as like a thing to just ping when I go live, which I'm at least glad that that works. And then let you guys know what the hell I've been up to, pretty much, is the idea. If I had the same personality I had as a teen, I'd be spamming the server 24/7. Sorry, if I've been through terrible things socially in the past years. That's not. You don't have to apologize. I'm just saying, like I don't like. I'm not also somebody who's like doing a shit ton of stuff to be active in it. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, it's not. This is not a me being like, why aren't people? It's like it's just the way it is. I was never one for like the whole community. I feel like community servers work better for like bigger communities. You know what I mean? Like I like the community here, at least for my stream, it's fairly small. It's like about, I think at most, like 10 to 7 people who show up to stream regularly every once in a while, and then like the odd new person who comes in. But for the most part, like there's not really too much going on, like aside from that. So it's not, it's never gonna be bumping like that, or it's never gonna be like all that stuff. And you know, I think it used to be a little bit more back when there was like a little bit more people just showing up consistently. But I don't know. There's a lot of people in the Discord. That's the thing, is like there's a lot of people who joined it, but I'm pretty sure like muted it and then just never check it. And I'm just like, why are you guys still here? Like, you know what I mean? Like it's one of those situations where I'm just like, why are all these people still here? If like I'm pretty sure like majority of these people don't ever watch my stream or my stuff like at all. You know? It's weird. I don't know. That's like a phenomenon that I noticed with like Discord in particular, where it's like people will just join Discords and then just not be active in them, like just to join them, and then they won't leave them. And I'm like, why don't you guys just leave? Like, I don't know. Is that like a normal thing? Do people just do that? You know? Hey, Rock. Those are the join, mute, and forget about it. But I just don't see the point. Like, why even do that? Why not just like go in and be like, I'm going to leave this server, you know? At least that way it helps me out. So like I know like, hey, how many people are actively like actually in this community and how many people just like joined because they saw a server link and thought, oh, maybe I can be bumping in here, you know? Because the only other time I see people post is like the odd like, you know, artists here and there who will post like an art piece and then like a bot who will start advertising itself in there, you know? Join a server and not be active in it and then also just not leave. I don't know. That's how it feels like for me, where I'm just like, I don't know why all these people are in here and then don't ever post or don't ever interact or don't ever show. The worst part is like most of them don't even show up to my stream, so I'm just like, why are you guys here? Like what is the purpose of this? I don't know. It's weird. Talk about Discord servers. Yeah, it was just because I'm like, I don't know what to do with mine anymore. Like it's just kind of there now, you know? And I mostly just use it to ping people. So I'm like, join a server thinking I'm gonna talk in it and I just fail. Why is this such a common thing with people? Why do people always join servers and be like, I'm gonna talk and then just don't? Like is this the trap of the introvert where they convince themselves? I don't know why Tifa's face looks off to me. I don't know why. What are we doing? Hoping to be social and then get intimidated and do nothing about it, expecting to get the courage to send message some of the time, but the time never comes. Hmm. I wonder why that is. That queso clip of trying to join the party and everyone shuts up and stares at you. But the thing is that in my server in particular, I'm just like, dude, you guys are the same bozos that are like typing nonsense in my chat all the time. Why are any of you nervous to say anything in this server? You know what I mean? In the server, it is forever unless someone deletes it. Is that what you want me to do, Rosie? You want me to like after a day delete all your messages in my server? Ban me. Actually, that'd make me feel more at ease. I'm joking. Sometimes I feel like banning Rock just because I think it'll be funny. Oh, do you guys wanna hear my thoughts on current popular online animation? I think from your server is funny case of I already talked to you on stream. I said what I had to say. Yeah, but it's funny when I ask something in the server and then no one responds, and then I have to be like, I hate all of you. um, Hold on, I gotta stretch real quick. Um, I watched the finale of um. Oftentimes they don't have valuable answer, man. Dude, I don't know, Rosie. Sometimes you should just start making shit up. You should just start spreading misinformation, truthfully. Um, no, I I watched the amazing Digital Circus finale, and I had like a quick post that I made on Blue Sky about it because, um, jury moment. It is a jury moment. Pay no attention to her boobs. Um, because I feel like if I ever make like any kind of social media post about a piece of media that I'm watching, especially one as volatile as that show and its fan base, it could get around, and I don't want that. So I reserved these thoughts for stream because I know people will not clip this. Did I freeze again? Oh my god! VTube Studio fucking crashed again. Oh my god! Why does it gotta be this way? Hello? Okay, it unfroze. Jesus Christ. I assume when someone asks a bunch of people somewhere, I feel like, that question is for someone else. No, you dingus. If I ask something in the server, literally anybody can answer. Um, what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, I watched the Amazing Digital Circus finale. Um, it was all right. It was all right. All top fandom is annoying. I do think that paying too much attention to said fandom be a part of the problem. No, I just don't want like 15-year-olds in my like comments, like in my replies. It's more of that. You know, me personally, I just don't want 15-year-olds, um, in my replies. That's more of what I'm trying to say. Um, I don't think anybody's ever safe from the random 15-year-olds in your replies. I can curate it better, Rock. That's the whole point. Like, you know. And here's the thing, like I'm not somebody with like an insignificant following, so it's like if I say something, yeah, there's a chance that sometimes it could just randomly get around, especially during a thing. So it's like, would I rather avoid that? Yeah, honestly, yeah, I would. But that's just a me personal thing, you know. When you this is something that happens when you get a certain degree of like a following. You can't just go around saying whatever you want all the time without there being like some kind of like something to it, you know. If I'm, you know, nowadays it's like you say anything with any kind of like following, and you have to be careful about the way you word it. Otherwise, people will just come for you. But also, I don't like being reductive and just saying something was mid or bad or something like that. I would like to actually give like nuanced thoughts on a thing, because I feel like that is actually more respectful than to just be like, this thing was bad because I think it was bad. It isn't me saying that I thought it was bad. No, I thought it was okay. But I think I think my only takeaway from it is that like it felt a bit rushed. It felt like plot points just kind of finished, and it felt more like an exploration of a character and a specific themes than it did a conclusion to a finale. I guess as a conclusion to a series. It more felt like the conclusion of a character's arc, more so than a conclusion to the overall narrative, which can work in its own right. And that's like that's like my only real thought on that aspect of it. But also there are other aspects of it I think that just flew over my head because they're not an experience that I like personally went through. So it was hard for me to really like understand like, wait, well, that's what that meant this whole time. And without spoiling it, Gooseworks kind of went on and gave a little bit more of just like an exact reveal to something about a certain character, that everyone else was like, yeah, no, it was obvious. I saw the hints, and I'm like, wasn't to me. But that's not, that's not for me, so I understand that, and so that's why I'm like, oh, okay, I guess that's what this meant. If you know, you know, but I'm not gonna spoil it. Don't personally get how else it could have possibly ended without being depressing as fuck. No, I'm not saying that it wouldn't have been depressing. I'm just saying that like it felt like there was a lot of things that just happened and a lot of questions that went unanswered. Which, to be fair, not everything needs like an answer. Not every question needs an answer, but um, it did feel like things wrapped up for the sake of concluding a character's arc. And yeah, if you haven't seen it, go watch it. But but yeah, it to me it just always felt like one of those stories that was going to it just felt like one of those stories that was never going to have a clean resolution because of how like complex the overall idea was. But I'm at least, I at least think it ended on a good note, is my take. You know, it is definitely something that I feel they could have had like another episode or maybe a longer final episode to like kind of dig a little deeper into some other stuff. But that's not my decision to make. I can only say how I felt about it overall, and that's pretty much it. It was very emotional. And with the added context that Gooseworks gave on social media afterwards, I'm like, oh, okay, that was even more emotional than it was meant to be because of that aspect of it. I'd say this was pretty good. Yeah, it was. I mean, it wasn't a fumble or anything like that. I will say, regardless of theming or character motivation, this series did nothing to really make me like Jax at all. I think I'm just like immune to that character like type of personality, like that. Yeah, me neither. Yeah, like emotional catharsis aside, it doesn't make me like the character. Like that's, I guess that's like the one takeaway as well, where I'm just like, yeah, I feel like with such a focus on this specific character, me not liking them kind of make it just be like, yeah, yeah, that was a good emotional like hook, but it doesn't do much for me as somebody who didn't, like I said, didn't care for the character all that much, anyways, and cared more about the other characters and how interesting they were and their kind of situations, you know. And to be honest, I feel like the ending kind of made me dislike Jax even more, to be honest. But I will say, amazing, amazing cinematography, amazing acting from all the actors, and yeah, I'm glad that Gooseworks was able to end it on her terms. You haven't seen the worst thing he's done, yeah. But the problem, and here's the thing, and this is again, this is just a thing with like media and the way that people interpret media and their characters. And I will say, given the extra context that Gooseworks has given on social media and what other people have been like latching onto, I get the feeling that people, uh, I get the feeling there's going to be an even bigger like push for for people really liking Jax as a character, and a lot of the more, I guess, the consequences of their actions, they're gonna just like fly over people's head, which is fine because again, it's like fiction, so I guess people are allowed to like problematic characters and whatnot, but it's you know, point never was, hey, I like this guy as a person. Yeah, but you know how the internet is. I think people put the character in like the same category as their Tumblr sexy man and all that stuff. Oh yeah, but fuck him. Wait, Rock, do you know they added context as to what I'm talking about? Okay. Yeah. Hey, Miss Six, welcome, welcome. How's it going? Just hanging out, drawing, talking about stuff. How are you? How are you doing? Hope you've been doing well. Far as I'm aware, the purpose of what Goose was doing was, hey, if you repress yourself too much and act like an ass about if this happens, here's the what if she didn't do that. I think it's a little bit more nuanced than that, Rock, but then again, we are not, that stuff doesn't pertain to us, so we can't speak on that. At least I personally wouldn't, because it's like I don't know what that experience is like, so I can't speak to that. But I can kind of guess what Gooseworks was, hinting at. But that a lot of that might come from like a personal place, or like from uh, a lived-in experience or something like that. So like that's about as much as I can take away from that aspect of that story. So I can't speak to that. Um, yeah, that's what I mean by like this has become a thing where it's like there's got to be a lot of nuance to it, especially for someone like me who has not experienced that. So I can't really say. Are we talking about the Amazing Digital Circus? We are, and I'm trying to talk about it in a way in which will not get me in trouble. I know nothing because I didn't watch it. Carry on. We're just a pair of cis Mexican lads. Like, yeah, I guess that's the way you can enter. Yeah. Me no, that stop that. Yeah, that's why I'm kind of hesitant to like really talk about like that aspect of the story, because it's like, you know, um, like I said, a lot of that stuff I couldn't like I've not lived that experience, so I could not pick up on a lot of that stuff at all. And I feel like the conversation online when it comes to that stuff is not exactly the most nuanced place to have that kind of conversation. So I'm like, yeah, I think if I give any take, it would have to be on stream where it's like I can kind of like, be a little bit more where I can just talk about it in like my own words without being like confined to a text box, you know. I finally might dip my toes into the show. I think I like a lot of aspect. Like looking back on it, I'm basically just basing my interpretation of literally the drawing post Goose made, because yeah, I too wouldn't know how to deal with it from the experience. But the thing is that a lot of people who are, I can't talk about it because it's kind of a major spoiler, you know. Like people are going around and talking about it, so I guess it doesn't matter. But it's like the only thing that I will say about that stuff, like minor or major spoilers, however you want to interpret this. So if you don't want to hear him, don't hear him. But like for Amazing Digital Circus, I'm not trans, so I can't speak to that aspect of that part of the story. So I will leave that to people who are, so that they can give their 2 cents on like all that stuff and whatnot. But like I think from just a greater story narrative sense, I think my biggest like I said, it feels like a majority of the thing was like a character study on a specific character, and then once that wrapped up, the whole series had to kind of wrap up alongside them as well. And yeah, it to me it wasn't as satisfying as it would have been to like, because I like the ensemble, like more than I like a specific character in the series, you know. So I guess that's why for me, it like to me that was one aspect that I felt was kind of just like, yeah, it did fall a little flat, and I wish they would have gone a little bit more in depth onto like some other things, but you know, I think overall it was still good and emotional. I am glad though that something like Amazing Digital Circus does exist, because overall, like, it is still just like a phenomenal show, and so many of the jokes in like a lot of the earlier episodes like still hit pretty like well. Um, I I think that a show as abstract and um a show as abstract and like deeply personal as that kind of existing and getting the popularity it did in like this age where it's like a lot of that stuff, like a lot of companies don't want to take risks or they want to like commercialize something so it could go on forever. It is good to know that it exists, and it is a testament to the fact that you can make something that's very personal and strange and you know is more niche, and it will still like it will still work. You know what I mean? So good on Glitch. No, yeah, like on the outside the show level, I'm so happy it's a thing and successful as it is for both the type of story it is, character focused and a little weird and also independent. Yeah, exactly. Because it gives hope to a lot of people to want to, creatives out there to want to make weird stories that are like more personal or more abstract, to be able to have that opportunity or to show that there is an audience for that. And there always is. I think, earlier when I was talking about like fandom and stuff, and I have this conversation quite often, but it's less of a thing of like, oh well, there's always going to be those people and like the fear and stuff. But it's more so about the fact that we're in an age where it's like a lot of people do not engage with media and art in a very like healthy way. You know, there's this, and I think it started around the beginning. Well, it can be traced back all the way to fucking Homestuck in a way, but I think part of it is also the rise and the extreme popularity of Undertale, and it goes to the only way I can describe it without being super derogatory is the Cork Chungus kind of kind of style of character writing and whatnot. Like you know what I mean when I say that. I hate to phrase it that way, but like there's not a lot of like the the super quirky, like that kind of style of writing and character and whatnot. Like there's something that appeals to that for like a lot of kids or younger folks who feel like on the outside of you know um your average thing or your popular thing, who are looking for a pieces of like outsider art or something that calls to them in a more comfortable way, that isn't afraid to be a little cringe or be a little weird. And I think that that's appealing for me, and for a lot of people that I grew up with. That was anime. Like that's why we liked anime, was because it was weird and different to like everything else that was like going on like TV and like the internet and all that stuff, or like TV and like in just social media at the time and whatnot. It's like I said, you used to get made fun of for liking stuff like Naruto. Now all the cool kids like Naruto, but it's like at the time it was like this weird. Which is funny to think that there was a time when like things like Naruto were considered weird, right? But it's like it's around that it's like that's where a lot of the people that I grew up with, that was their thing, you know. And then by the time, because I was an adult already by the time Undertale came out, so it's like it didn't hit me in that same way it hit a lot of teenagers, or like middle schoolers who are probably going through that experience at the time, who were like felt like outsiders and needed a piece of media that would comfort them. For me, I think I froze it again. Never mind, I'm free. Um, but for me, I think it definitely, when I think about series that did that for me, I always go back to Fooly Cooly. And the thing about Fooly Cooly that I think worked for my generation in particular was because it was a bit grungier, it was a bit dirtier, it was a bit more mature in a time when it felt like, in a time where it felt like things around this just didn't make a lot of sense and whatnot. We didn't have that connection to the internet, the connection to like everyone else around us that was like so easily accessible, like what we do have now, right? So for us, it was like we didn't know how many other people actually were feeling this feeling that this show was, representing for us. And so when you would sit down, you would watch Fooly Cooly at that time, and you were like a teenager or like a preteen, and you were like, oh, those are those complex feelings I'm feeling, and somebody made that. So that means there's other people that feel this. When you find people who have also watched the show and stuff like that, so you find these things, right? It was anime like that. It was stuff like, it was stuff like, Bleach. That was like a bit more of a darker like thing. It was stuff like Death Note. It was stuff like, God, what was a weirder, anime from that time? I'm trying to think. Like mid 2000s weird, more out there. Well, okay, and not only that, but I knew people who got into certain series because it was the closest thing to like queer rep that they had at the time, or something that felt like a little bit more like, oh, this speaks to me in a way. And I remember a lot of people really being into Oron High School Host Club at the time because of that. you know um Even though right now, if you look back on it, it is not a good representation of a lot of that, and it is very questionable, right? But like, I think at the time when we didn't have access to a lot of things that were like, you know, I guess more nuanced, it was that kind of gateway to like, oh, I like things that are a little bit more effeminate, or that are, lean into this thing, you know. So anime became that thing for that generation, for my generation, in a sense. uh and there's a little bit of an overlap sometimes as well, but I think for the most part, with a lot of the current generation, which I would say, like, Gen Z and all that stuff, it's like they were, they grew up with things like that was like more outsider for them. So um they latch on to those things, but because they grew up in an era in which, like, social media is like easier to access, and like it's easier to get around to people who have like these like-minded views on this thing, the sense of community grew faster. But with that, it grew into this sort of competitive, like, oh, I like this thing more than you do, which that stuff has existed since forever, but it's like you wouldn't see it like permeate in the way that it does now, you know. And especially these days, because you have easy access to the creators of these like things, right? Like, look at what happened with Gachi. Look what happened with Kei Urana. Like, I fucking missed seeing Kei Urana on Twitter. All her art that she posted, all the stuff that was there before, it's gone now. I can't see it anymore because a bunch of fucking weirdos decided to chase her off of Twitter. Pisses me off, right? And that's the thing, is like, now we're in that kind of scenario where it's like, Gooseworks was also going through something similar, and it's like, now, you know now it's like this thing where it's like you see them falling out of love with the thing that they created, or with the act of creating, because of, um because of the way that people behave. So it's like, it's, it's that thing where people can't accept something for what the creator's vision of it is, and so they decide to lash out but they don't realize that that's a person too. They're not just like a disembodied voice. They are a person with their own thoughts and feelings. And when you say things under the guise of anonymity online, it's like it affects them. It doesn't just like they don't just shake it off or whatever. And especially a lot of Japanese creators, like there's no reason for any of them to like stay on social media. They could just leave if they want to, you know? It's just so disappointing. That's what I mean by like that. That's what I mean by the whole like, you know, the volatile nature of fandoms these days is that and it's not just young folk too. It could be people my age as well who like get caught into that kind of same mentality, and it ends up being a mess, you know? So you always have to be careful. You also have to engage with media in a healthy way. Like if it's something that speaks to you on like a personal and deep level, I think that's great. But you need to be able to kind of separate that from the reality in front of you and the way that other people might see that thing as well. And just because it's not in that same level as you doesn't make it any lesser, you know? I feel like people are a little bit too hopeless about the bad fandom part. It's not hopelessness, Rock. It's just not wanting to deal with it. It's less about hopelessness and it's more about not wanting to deal with that kind of behavior and so wanting to avoid it altogether, you know? Because here's the thing, right? It's easy for somebody in passing to be like, you could just ignore these people. But when you are somebody who is deeply involved in this thing, right? Or like the creator themselves, it's like, yeah, man, when you're seeing that constantly, it adds up. It's not something that you can just ignore. It's something that will start permeating like every single like second of your life, you know? And for a lot of artists who like have already a lot of confidence issues, it's like that shit sucks. That's just like you might as well just be shooting me with a gun. So they give up doing their cool thing too quickly. I think I think it's something. Rock, this is hard to explain. I'm frozen. Why does it keep doing this? What is wrong with VTube Studio today? Hello? What is VTube Studio is not having a good time today. What is going on? Does VTube Studio need like an update today? Like what's happening? Hello? Weird. Rock, I think, you know, going back to what you were saying, I think that this specific kind of dilemma is something that you wouldn't really like. It's hard to understand until you're in the thick of it, until you're in the thick of, you know, the constant harassment of constant like people talking down the thing that you made and whatnot. I think it's easy from the outside to be like, I just ignore it or don't let it like dull your shine or whatever. But I think that when you're in the thick of it and it's something that you dedicate a lot of yourself to, it becomes harder and harder to find the love in something when people try to take it from you, you know? And as much as we want to be hopeful and say like, yeah, that'll never happen to me, it's like you got to think about like outside factors as well, like what's going on in the person's day-to-day life that is, you know. So it's easy for us on the outside to be like, yeah, like you shouldn't let it affect you in that way, but it's like I think it's a little bit deeper than just like I'm giving up for the sake of giving up, and it's more just like I don't want this thing that I'm passionate about to become something that I hate, you know? Like say I end up making that comic with Belfi, right? If the response to it would be the same as like what people have been having with like, you know, Gooseworks and Amazing Digital Circus and stuff like that. It's like, yeah, at some point I'd feel some resentment too, and I'd want to like not engage with, you know, people on that level because they try to take the thing that was personal to me, you know, away from me and stuff like that. I don't know. It's a very, like I said, it's a very complicated thing. That just looks weird. It is. I'm just saying people are giving up too fast. Because as many examples as we had of horror fandoms, we also have had very pleasant fandoms rarely anyone talks about because they're not making as much noise. It's not, but that's the thing is that like that's not what's being said here. It's not that there isn't good out there. It's just that the bad is really bad, man. Like if you have to think about it from like the perspective of just like a creator and like how bad it has to be for somebody to get that way. And it's not because they're ignoring the good, because obviously they're not. You know, they're not ignoring the good. It's about that person's threshold of how much bad they can take, you know? Because I think, you know, I think things like death threats, that's pretty bad. So it's like, you know, if you're getting a lot of that constantly, it can be pretty, that could wear anyone down. You know what I mean? So it's about the degree of it. But I get where you're coming from though, Rock. I also hate seeing people give up like that. But I also don't think it's as simple as just like, you know, it's giving up too easily. And I think for the most part, like, you know, if I can be real about it, I think most of the time the people don't actually like want to give up. I think it is just like something where people are just caught in like a moment of just weakness because of, you know, it piling up and whatnot. Because, you know, I especially for somebody like Gooseworks, who I'm sure did not expect it to get as big as it got, you know. And I think when you don't expect something to blow up in the way that it does, the sudden, you know, um, the sudden big popularity is like, oh God, I did not account for any of this, you know. I just feel that there's you try before you burn the house down. But it's not burning the house. I think you're misinterpreting it. I don't think it's burning the house down. It's more necessarily, hey, I just want to not engage with this once it's done. I think once it's done, I want to move on from this, and I'm glad that it was made. And I think it's more of that, and less so much of like, I hate this thing and don't ever want to see it again. No, no, no. It's not. It's not that. I think it is. It does become a thing of like, yeah, I would want to distance myself a little bit from this thing so that it could cool down and then like find my next thing. You know what I mean? But again, this is only something like I said that you can really like speculate, because it's like you got to kind of be in that to really know like what it's like, you know. with none of us actually having finished project out there. Well, I think I can kind of attest to at least the idea of like having eyes on you and how that can like affect you mentally. You know, I can at least attest to that, and like putting yourself out there and knowing like, okay, you know, when something starts getting away from you, I think it does start, you know, it could weigh down on your mind. So that's why for me, when I see like, you know, when I see Goosework saying things like that, I can kind of get it, because I'm like, yeah, I think when you have so many like eyes on you and this thing kind of starts getting away from you, it's easy to get into that mentality. Because I think there's a lot of indie creators out there who, after seeing what happened with Amazing Digital Circus, are like, man, I hope to get that level of success. But then some are saying, like, I hope I don't get that level of success because I do not want to go through what Gooseworks is going through and all that stuff, you know? So it's like, you know, it's hand in hand. But all that to say that I think that overall, I think um, the positives do outweigh the negatives in a lot of cases. And I think that creators should continue to create and make cool things that are very personal to them, um, in sharing those with the world and inspiring others to do the same thing. Most controversial stance in this is that I think people get attached to things they make in the wrong way. That's yeah, but that's subjective, Rock. Like the that's I think it's, if you're making something that comes from the heart or something that has a lot of yourself in it, it's like, yeah, man, that's gonna happen. You get attached to the thing. It's because it's yours, you know? And it's your decision to share it with the world and whatnot. But that doesn't mean that they're like, that doesn't mean that everyone else is also always allowed to like mold it into something that, you know, it's not. They can interpret it how they want it, but like at the same time, it's like, I think people feeling like, I don't think you should think of what you create as being you. Yes, everything you make will come from you, but it's not you. That's a bit paradoxical, Rock, because if something you make comes from you, it's hard not to see you in that thing. You know, would your child be you? I, buddy, this is a whole. All right, we're getting into a whole different fucking conversation about this and creative. I'm just saying, like, this feels like a different, like, we're going into a different territory here. I just think that if people feel attached to the thing that they make, I think that's understandable. That's all I'm saying. Like, I think if people see themselves in the thing that they make because they put a lot of themselves in it, I think that's fine. I don't think that's weird, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. And I think people are allowed to feel how they feel about something. It's just that that's the consequences when you put that stuff out there to the public, is that it's going to be either interpreted in a way that you don't want, or taken in a way that is like just outside of what you initially intended, or blown up to a degree of whatnot and all that stuff. That's all I'm saying. And I think that and it's fair for people to feel that way, Rock. I think it's 100% fair for people to feel that way, and especially in this online space where people could get very, very volatile in very, very not nice ways. That's what I'm saying. And then I get where you're coming from, where you feel like people should keep wanting to make something regardless of that. But you got to see the other side of it, man. Like, it's not just like a few bad eggs saying like a bad thing here and there. It's like a constant barrage of just being like bombarded by that stuff, and that'll weigh anyone down. And we're all made different. Some of us have thicker skin, some of us just, are not they don't want to deal with it. You know what I mean? Like me personally, I have some pretty thick skin. I think people could say some meany things about me, and I will just say some mean things back. But that's about it. Also, you're asking the man without a child, is your child you? Man, I don't know. I don't have a kid. I would hope not. The answer is no, you're not your dad or your mom. I don't know. Me and my mom have the same sense of humor. We're getting real fucking philosophical in this stream tonight. We're talking about the nature of art and whether it's good or bad to share it. We're gonna get there eventually. But I'm not saying it's bad to share. I'm saying that what you feel after you share it, I think is valid. You know, I think when you, I think that art of any kind, like, okay, this is this I feel is like something that is. I think this is something that again has to come from being in that scenario of like, hey, if you are the creator and you put something out there and it gets big and then people just completely like twist it and blow it out of proportion, it's that aspect. I'm just mad at people are feeling it before making the thing. I don't think anybody is being serious about that. Why am I frozen? I'm gonna fucking explode today. Jesus Christ. Love your VTuber Slate. Thanks. It's a little frozen right now. Oh, wait, no, I'm back. Hello. Sorry you had to see my little crash out there. Sorry you had to see my little crash out there. Welcome to the stream. My name is Crow Corvo. Oh god, those are boobs on the screen. Hold on. Let me let me pan up. We're drawing Tifa. We're drawing Tifa from Final Fantasy VII, dressed up as Juri from Street Fighter 6 in particular. I know, quite a conundrum there. I don't know. Her face seems a little odd. I don't know why. Her face seems off to me. I think I want to redraw her eyes. But again, to go back to what you were saying, Rock, I think that I don't think a lot of people mean that. I don't think that people are actually being serious when they say that stuff. But I also understand that people are apprehensive about wanting to put things out there in a certain way because of the way that the online space can kind of react to it, you know? Like, do I think Kei Urana particularly cared? No, but then we also see what happened to Kei Urana after the fact, and it's just like, okay, well, I think it's understandable for other people to say, like, I don't want to engage with, like, fandom online because of this, you know? All right, let's do eyes on a different layer. I'm sure not everyone is serious. I'm just mad because I've seen several artists that follow voice of opinion is considered to be letting the hopeless chud win. I don't think it's as simple as that, Rock. But then you also have to remember that everyone's circumstance is different, and like I said, everyone's tolerance for certain things is also different. So I don't think it's as simple as the hopeless chud. Thank you for the follow, Kiko Knees. Saying hopeless chud was the wrong thing. I meant to say annoying fucks who don't want anything to be made. Jeez, Rock, what post did you see that set you off on this track? Because I feel like I haven't been seeing this same sentiment. Jesus, man, I think something set you off that I didn't see. So I'm just like, I don't know what specifically you saw that got you into that thought. But I think, look, this is what I'll say about that in general, about that topic in general. I think that the people who are actively out there being like, oh, I don't know if like things, saying that things shouldn't be made because of that thing. I think those are people who are never going to make anything to begin with. So I wouldn't say that their voice actually gives a lot of credence into that discussion. But I think for the people who feel apprehensive about, wanting to release something, with big buildup and whatnot, um, in the current day and age. I think that I understand where they're coming from and wanting to kind of be a little bit more careful about the way that they present something and the way that it grows, you know? Those overall mood of seeing less and less people make things either due to circumstances, fear, or air bullshit that includes me. Also, I'm mad I haven't also been making things, but I'm also not planning to give up. So I guess I'm mad I keep seeing people say they want to give up. I get where you're coming from, but it also feels like you're fighting a lot of your own personal demons with this particular subject. I mean, I've talked about my thoughts on a lot of this stuff in my kind of like I'm not gonna stop making art as long as it's fun to me, right? Like I've said that I don't think people should ever stop making art, as long as they enjoy it. But I also understand when people get to a point, and this is the thing, this is going to vary from person to person. I also understand when people get to a point where maybe they don't find as much joy or satisfaction or, whatever in art anymore. So they want to move on from it. I get that as well. I think for me, I think art is important to people as long as it continues to be something enjoyable. If it stops being enjoyable, then at that point, I don't think that you should force yourself to continue with it. You know? That's always been my take on art and artistic endeavors, you know? Because it is hard, you know? It's difficult. Art isn't easy. And there's only a select few amount of freaks who want to like bang their head against a wall over and over again, you know? I forgot I had a post that had like a bunch of Keirana's art saved in a thread, and I'm just like, oh, thank God somebody did that. So anytime I look at it, I can be fueled again. Was a drama with that artist? No drama. They just deleted their Twitter. Um, Kei Urana, for those who are not aware, is the mangaka for Gachiakta. Um, that blew up in popularity because of its recent anime adaptation. Um, and because people were being weird to her online on Twitter, and she got tired of it, so she was just like, "Yeah, I'm not gonna deal with this anymore." So I'm like, "Yeah, don't blame you." I just hate it because like now, like I barely get updates on when like new chapters are out because good for her. People are so parasocial. I wouldn't even say it's drama. Like that's the thing. I wouldn't even frame it that way because it wasn't. It was literally just people harassing her. like, like she was just kind of just like, I don't know, man. I'm over here just like drawing shit and trying to tell like a cool story and whatnot, and people are just being, whatever about it, and also over things that were out of her control. I think she's still on Instagram though, if I'm correct. I don't have Instagram, so I wouldn't know. But I think she's still on Instagram. God, you know which specific the One Piece artist gets threats via mail, so rip. Oh, you mean Oda? I'm pretty sure Oda doesn't actually even look at his own stuff. I'm pretty sure he just has like an intern look at it, so I wouldn't be surprised. Um this particular art piece is one that I think about a lot. Um K from like Keirana. Let's see. Make that a little bit smaller. Yeah, this particular artwork is so fucking good. The like dynamic aspect of it. I know I'm frozen. The dynamic aspect of it, the shape language, the everything about it, like God. Um, I also love Amo's design. Like after the in the current arc, Amo's like nurse look is just so good. Greatest fandom interaction is checking the fandom One Piece wiki to get info on his own manga. Dude, I would do the same, honestly, at this point. I'm pretty sure that motherfucker, like, he flipped through the first few volumes and was like, who the hell is this? Oh, yeah, now I remember. Like, I'm pretty sure he himself has forgotten characters and has to go through and be like, who is this? Axe Hand Morgan? Yeah, sure, whatever. Also, for those of you who are unaware about what's currently going on in the One Piece manga without giving too much spoilers, we are getting a second Brook backstory. A second one. This is how far we are into this manga, and we are barely learning about Brook. Like, I thought we were done with learning about all the Straw Hats at this point. Nope, turns out we still had so much more, and it gets even crazier than you thought. The fucking random flashback to another like Brook backstory was just kind of like, I thought we were done with him with the whale. I thought it was just the whale. There's more? And yes, there is more. 100% sure Oda wanted to add on to his characters and made the backstory up recently. I don't even know. I wouldn't even be able to tell you, to be honest, because the way that Oda kind of goes about giving characters more like story has just been so interesting because it's just like out of nowhere, you know, just random lore drops. I think sometimes it is to fit the narrative, like that he'll be like, oh, maybe I can expand on this. I think a character like Brook, he just always had that advantage because it's like we only see Brook later in his life. We don't see him in his younger years. Whereas with the rest of the Straw Hats, we do see them in their younger years. So it's very easy to be like, oh, okay, that's pretty much all that's, up with them. But with Brook, it was like, no, we saw him when he was already kind of a like an older guy, you know. We didn't see him pre-pirate. We only saw him like when he became a pirate. I mean, technically, we got more backstory on Zoro during Wano, which is just like the reveal that, yeah, that little village that fucking Zoro is from was founded by people who were from Wano. So, yes, technically, like Zoro's descendants are from Wano. That's pretty much like one of the only like big kind of reveals for him, which we all kind of already knew. Yeah. Okay. But I don't want to talk about One Piece too much because then I don't want to get into spoiler territory. There's a lot of people who aren't caught up, so I will leave it at that. Anyways, I can't wait for the new big online animated thing that's going to make people go crazy again. Will it be Game Overs? Will it be Gaslight District? Will it be Knights of Guinevere? Who knows? One Piece because my whole family watches it and uses me to spoil. Oh. Knights of Guinevere for sure. The fandom is frothing at the mouth. Love Game Overs though. I think that those will definitely be handled with a little bit more, because Dana worked for Disney and like a bunch of networks, and Ross has been on the internet for a long time. So I think that those are definitely going to be in a lot like more safer hands for sure. But I also think they appeal in different ways, because Amazing Digital Circus was like a Blorbo little freak show, and that's not me saying that derogatory. That's like all the characters are kind of like these little like freaky little fellas. So I think it appealed to a lot of people who love freaky little fellas. Whereas Game Overs and Knights of Guinevere are more just like look at these kind of beautiful like 2D character designs and vibrant and colorful 2D character designs. Yes, I know I'm frozen again. It's for us, the perverts. All right, I don't know about that one. I don't know about that one in particular, but sure. VTube Studio, would you like to get it together before I just completely like eradicate you from existence? Hello? Oh, it got it together. It's safe another day. Hmm. Oh, Chad, do you want to? VTube Studio is my friend and my biggest hater, even with a decent PC. Dude, my PC is really good. I never have issues with VTube Studio. I don't know what the hell happened. Maybe a recent update or something that caused it to fix to bug out. But anyways, do you guys want to hear what the plan is for this week, guys? This is a big week. All right, everybody, listen up. You know what's happening this week? Do you know what is happening? Chad, are you aware of what's happening this week? This week, let me tell you right now. I've frozen. Hold on. Let me wait for it to come back. Otherwise, I will just. I want to. I'm gonna close. I'm gonna close VTube Studio again. Hold on. We're restarting it again. Wait, was there an update? Oh, let me double check. Um. No, it looks like it's up to date. Okay. I've used 1,000 hours in VTube Studio. That's crazy. That kind of says how long I've streamed as well. All right, I'm back. Hopefully, it acts normal. Anyways, this is a very big week because you know what's coming out this week? Star Fox. It's Star Fox week, everybody. Star Fox is out on Thursday, and guess what we're doing? We're streaming the entire thing. I'm doing every route. I'm trying to get every cutscene, and I'm gonna try and medal every level. I don't know if I'm gonna do that all in one stream, but I'm gonna at least get through it, a lot of it in one go. Yeah, that's what's happening on Thursday. Is that we're doing a Star Fox thing. As for the rest of the week, I'm gonna be working on some other stuff, I guess, as well. But like, I think I have a few things here and there that I want to try out. But also, it's motherfucking Evo. That's right. I may not be there in person, but it's also Evo time, so maybe we'll play a fighting game or two. You get a big job interview on Thursday. This isn't about you, Rock. This is about me. I'm kidding. I, w- I wish you. No, I wish you luck. I wish you luck at your job interview, Rock. My internet time was so fun. Oh god. Amazing comedic timing, Rosie. No, Rock. I hope that Thursday goes well for you with your job interview. And you know what? We'll both be winners. I get Star Fox, and hopefully you get a new job. Guys, let's hope that Rock can defeat unemployment. We'll play a little ditty for you. There you go. That's for you. I remembered where my kazoo was, guys. I had my kazoo again. But yeah, I'm also gonna make some interesting assets for the Star Fox stream. Because it's gonna be a special one. Let's hope he can buy me figures with the money from his hopefully new job. That's true. Hopefully he can. But yeah, this week I also might just play some fighting games. So if you see me doing like fighting game streams, I'm just trying to get into the Evo mood, and also I've been wanting to like play fighting games again. So, yay! Which fighting games you excited with? I mean, I'll probably just play Street Fighter. I do want to like hop back into 2XKO a little bit though, but mostly Street Fighter right now. Fighting games, I'm the opposite. I must protect my peace after Marvel Rivals. Oh, I stopped playing Marvel Rivals a long time ago. That game, that game is torturous to some degree. Good, you must live a happy life. I was like hard, like stuck in gold because every fucking match I got was like with the worst people possible. And I mean that when I say that. I'm not just, this isn't a case of like, oh yeah, sure, Crow, you sure you just weren't the bad one? No, and I have the record to prove it because I played a healer the entire time and all my DPSs fucking sucked ass. It got to the point where like I had to play DPS a few times just to get us through, or I had to just DPS while healing. That shit sucked ass, and so I got tired of that. So I stopped playing. I had a friend who like got into Celestial, I think, at some point, and he also got really miserable and stopped playing the game because he got burnt out by it. Um, Same with Overwatch. Overwatch is one of those games where it's like, man, I love the idea of it. I would love to go back to it one day. I don't want to do that. So I stick to fighting games because at least then I don't have to worry about a teammate. Overwatch used to be peak. Yeah. There's a lot of people who still very much enjoy it and will just play it casually, and I think that those people probably have like fun with it. But I think to any like competitive degree, like if I had a group of friends and they asked me, "Hey, do you want to play some Overwatch?" Like, yeah, I'd play with them. I wouldn't take it seriously, you know. I would just like have fun. Then yeah, 100%. Yeah, anytime I draw a character in this outfit, it baffles me that Jury just got her juries out like that. You know what I mean? You might like Deadlock if you ever get around to it. No, I played Deadlock. I like Deadlock. I think that that's a game where I definitely need people. Like I cannot play that game on my own. I need people to play with because I get lost. But I like Deadlock. I've drawn some Deadlock. Kigonis, if you've never seen my streams before, I have drawn some Deadlock stuff. Also, if you don't follow me on social media, you should go check out my stuff. Hold on, let me show you. I've drawn Deadlock before. Where's my Deadlock doodle page? Oh, here it is. Yeah. I did a stream where I was just like doing some doodles and I just did a bunch of Deadlock related ones of characters whose designs I like. And then, oh yeah, and then I also did. Where is it? Yeah. Can you tell? Can you tell what bias I have towards specific character designs? I vaguely remember seeing you draw Mina. I've never drawn Mina. You made that up. Yeah, if you want to pick up on some of those themes, I have an OC who could probably tell you everything I enjoy about certain character designs as well. This is my OC, Belfi. She's a demon lady who likes to punch things and is hungry all the time. If you follow me, you're gonna see her a lot. And loves me. That's... I don't know about that, Chief. You don't know what we have? I do, and it's nothing. I was sent to the chair. Rosie, I'm trying to save you here. Also, in like 2 weeks, I'm taking my friend to his first ever VTuber concert. I am very, very excited to see what that's going to be like. I bought him a light stick and everything. But also, summer has started, everyone. So you know what that means? It's time for summer-related art as well. So you're gonna see me draw a lot of bikinis and swimwear and stuff like that. Hot men with their abs out. Mostly because I do want to get out of the only draws cute and hot women kind of category of art, and I want to draw like more cooler things, which is part of the reason why I was drawing this Link, because I'm like, man, I want to just draw cool shit again that's like just like more varied and not just drawing hot anime women. I do love drawing hot anime women, don't get me wrong, but I want to draw cool shit too, you know what I mean? It's okay, women are beautiful. No, women are beautiful, but like when I look at my whole like my drawing archive and it's just that, I'm like, I gotta vary it up a little bit. Just draw dinosaurs? No. Kiko, this is the kind of dynamic I have with my chat here. They're aware of it. They know. I think for this in particular. He's so mean to me for no reason. Think about what you just said. You think back on all the things that you've said in this stream. in this chat room, and you come to terms with that, huh? I'm just a little guy. That's inherently false. Happens too often in this corrupt chat abuse. I don't know about that. Everything that has happened to Rock, he's had coming to him. All right, that's all I'm saying. Actually, next to his radiator to BB. I did not say that. That's not what I said at all. Let's not forget who Rosie said was Rock's twin. That's true. I feel like Rosie bullies Rock more than I do. Well, yeah, but Rosie's cool. What do you fucking mean, but Rosie's cool? What are you trying to say about me, huh? Crow confirmed both definitions of Ankh. Mods, make him experience ego death. I'm also very hot and sexy and beautiful, so my sins are forgiven and actions excused. Nuh-uh. Take that, loser. Okay. Oh, but yeah, for those of you who have checked out the YouTube video as well, don't worry, there will be more stuff soon. I am planning on making another art book video that's going to be a little bit on the shorter side, but it's still going to be a nice video. Um, I have like several art books that I have that I can make a video on. I'm just trying to debate. I'm like trying to decide which one. Love YouTube art videos. Yeah. I did one super recently if you want to check it out. Where I broke down the new Star Fox designs. Which ones you got? I have My Hero Academia. I have Capcom Complete Works for Marvel vs. Capcom. Metroid Prime 1, 2, and 3. Dungeon Meshi. A bunch of other ones. I also have a weird book that I kind of want to talk about at some point from one Mr. Eyepatch Wolf called The Bizarre World of Fake Video Games, which is technically also an art book that I want to get into at some point. It's a really, really, really neat one. I also have specific artist books. Like I have Asagi Sensei's art book. I have Sushio's art book. I have several other artists art books like Shiro Miwa. Oh yeah, I also have the Watako's art book as well. I forgot about that. I've had that one. Watako or Wata Sensei is the artist behind the Fate Extella series and also designed Oro Crony from Hololive English. That's a really cool art book that she made that has like a lot of Red Saber in it and a lot of Fate stuff in it, and it's got a lot of boobs. So there's a lot of pages that I can't actually show, but for the most part, I can like kind of go over like Wata Sensei and like their art style. Very, very, very good artists. I love Wata Sensei's stuff. But yeah, and I'm also gonna be. I think I also want to delve into like manga as well, like and talk about like specific manga artists, you know. But yeah, I got a couple. Don't worry, there'll be something good coming. But I'll let you guys know ahead of time what it's gonna be, and they're all eventually gonna be made. Like I'm eventually gonna go over like all of these, like I do also want to make a video kind of talking about like specific mangaka's art styles. Like I do want to break down like Kei Urano's art style and what makes it like so good and whatnot. But that's a little down the line. We'll get there. Okay. If there's one thing that I do collect very actively, it's art books. Most people would know this about me. If you look at my room, I literally have like stacks and stacks of art books, and it's like it's a problem. No, if you go and look at my previous art book videos from like 3 years ago, I do go into like I do go into detail on what aspects of like what in particular those artists excel at and what you would go to the because the one thing is like I don't want to just show off an art book and be like this artist is just really cool. I want to be like okay, So if there's something specifically that you're looking for in art, I would say I would recommend this artist, right? So for like the lack, for example, I said if there's a specific style of rendering that you want to attain, Lack Sensei is a very very good artist to look into because Lack's art has this very painterly quality to it while also appearing very like stylized and like anime, like what you would normally see. And I think in a way, Lack kind of revolutionized this specific uh, style of rendering that you see a lot, and I think it's really cool. And then for like Mika Picasso, for example, there was another one where I was like, Mika Picasso is a fantastic artist that makes very vibrant work that relies on a lot of like RGB, uses a lot of primary colors to really pop, and like how they do something with so little, you know. Um, and then the other artist, Yo-Yo Shinari, I talked about construction, and I think how Yo-Yo Shinari is capable of making art that feels alive because of the way that his shape language shapes the way his shape language creates a story within a character or creates a movement within a piece, and not only that, but it's like pure painting skills as well. Like there's so much you can glean from an artist based off the art book and the specific pieces they picked to be in those art books. You know what I mean? And that's why, like, to me, I always recommend artists pick up like physical art books so that you can just flip through them on your own time and see what it is they excel at. For a lot of them, it's like character design. For a lot of them, it's rendering. For a lot of them, it's the way they draw eyes, the way they draw hair, the way they draw like certain things. And I love breaking that down and like kind of going into detail about it. It's like one of my favorite things. Like if I were to talk about Kei Rana in particular as well, like Kei Rana like excels at just overall shape language, dynamism, and pushing like anatomy in ways that like no other like artist really does. You know, about Hanako-kun art, I'm inspired by the detail. Oh, I've seen that art book before, and I've been wanting to pick it up. I don't know the series that well, but I love the artist's like work, and so I very much want to pick up that art book just to look through it. But yeah, I'm not like I like. Here's the thing: like these are things that I can visualize, but it's always hard to put into practice like these specific things. And for me, I like looking at these art books because it allows me this kind of way to frame what specifically I like about this artist's work. Like what in their work I'm like, this is the thing that calls out to me. High key energy lets you eat the knowledge in a way. But there's a lot of other artists that like I want to do that for, not just Japanese artists. About it the whole stream I just realized, but she's looking sick as hell. Thanks, man. There's one specific part in that new YouTube video I made, um, where I put Fox's head over like a stock image of a guy for like a little sight gag. And I literally did it all just in DaVinci Resolve. Like I didn't go into like a separate like I didn't go into Clip Studio and edit the image because I got lazy. So I literally just cropped out Fox's head out of a transparent PNG and put it on a fucking guy inside the editing program. And I still feel very proud of that one. I'm not the most like crazy editor ever, but like man, when I get it when I get a good idea, I try to do something with that. I also used the fucking glorp joke twice. I went out of my house early today when I tried to watch it. I mean, it's a bit of a ranty video, so if people want to just like have it on in the background, I wouldn't blame them. You heard me say they're aliens, and then everything turned off. That was a trick. I did that on purpose. That was me, actually. I designed it so specifically it would make your power go out, Rock. That was the key. That was a trick. You sick bastard. Imagine if I had that kind of power. That'd be insane. I would be as if a god. I would have been smitten half a year ago. That means something different than what you think it means, Rock. Smitten means, you know. I mean, you could have been smitten half a year ago, but, like, hopefully not by me. Shit ass. You would have smited my ass or whatever. Yeah. Smited. Smote. Frame one I hate you with skill is showing roll the gray. I turn into sand. Motherfucker, everyone had issues with that goddamn boss fight, alright? Don't you hit me with that fucking skill issue. He was probably one of the most like complained about bosses in that entire game. And I did it. I did it on stream. Alright? There was video proof of me doing it. I have been playing more of that what was it that Zelda-like game I was playing, the Elliot game. Uh the song sounds familiar. It is Monster Hunter World. Yeah, I was playing more of that Elliot game, the new Square game. And man, I really like that game. That is, if you've been wanting a good Zelda like, and maybe you bounced off of Mina the Hollower, I would say that that game is it does Zelda very well. It is very much a good Zelda like. You bought Mina, but you've yet to play it. I beat Mina. I liked it. I can understand why some people would not. I think it's difficult in a different way from like Silksong. But I think also mechanically, I think the game is like a lot harder to get into. Um, for some people. Like if you're not somebody who grew up with like Game Boy stuff and like that older Zelda style, it definitely will take some getting used to. I also think some of the hitboxes are also just like not great. But I enjoyed my time with it. I thought it was great. I heard very good things about it, but also specific people bounced off it hard. Um, it's it's a bit of a mixed bag because you can make the game as easy as you want for yourself, right? With modifiers and whatnot. I played it without any modifiers, so I just went into it like completely raw and original, and it's good. Albeit a bit rough around the edges in some parts. Going from like playing, like I said, the Elliot game where I can walk diagonally and attack diagonally, I'm like, oh, that feels good. And then with Mina where it's like you can walk diagonally but you cannot attack diagonally, but enemies can attack diagonally. That did not feel good. That definitely felt like a okay. That's like one aspect of the game that I will say is like definitely like gonna be hit or miss for a lot of people is the enemies run on a different rule set than Mina. And that could be really rough for some people. But it's very much made for people who loved Link's Awakening. Like 100%. If you played Link's Awakening on the Game Boy Color, this is definitely a game that you will very much enjoy. I got it because the Shovel Knight devs, and I feel like I can trust them to make a fun game. Okay, the things that I'm saying are mostly like smaller, just like I wouldn't say nitpicks, but it's just like design philosophies that some people will either gel with or feel a bit frustrated by. It's a good game overall, but I could definitely see why people bounced off of it. It's one of those situations, so that's why I'm like talking about it the way that I am. Um, it's more so just being like, yeah, the game is good if a bit flawed in that sense, depending on your preference. You know, for some people they might not mind it, but I have not played Link's Awakening, so I use it as a reference. I mean, if you look at the game itself, it looks like Link's Awakening. And it was pretty much like had to be their direct inspiration. I played Four Swords. Then yeah, it feels like Four Swords as well, but visually it looks like Link's Awakening. If you've played top-down 2D Zelda, it's very much inspired by like a lot of that. But I say Link's Awakening in particular because Link's Awakening is the only one that has like the jump in it with the Rock's Feather. Yeah. All right, we have thoroughly finished the base for this Tifa drawing. This is what we got so far. This looks beautiful, coming together perfectly. Yeah, thanks. Yeah, I'll probably render it. I'll render it on my own time, or maybe I'll do another stream where I like finish rendering it. Who knows? We'll see how the week goes. But I think that is going to be it for me today. I was planning on making this a bit of a shorter stream, just yapping a bit, hanging out, and whatnot. But Crow is feeling a little sleepy, and I got work tomorrow. So, thank you so much, everybody, for stopping by. I really appreciate it. I know this was a very like low key, kind of low energy stream. Nice meeting you. Have a great night for sure, Kiko. Nice. Thank you for stopping by and being very positive in the stream. Really appreciate it. If you haven't followed me everywhere else, go check out my other stuff. My socials are down below. If you pay exclamation point socials, you can also check that out. But yeah, stream schedule for the rest of the week. I know we're doing Star Fox on Thursday. That's a for sure locked in. As for the rest of the week, I don't know. We'll see. Usually Monday and Tuesday are my streaming days. On Wednesdays I don't stream, so I will let you guys know. Thank you so much, everybody, for stopping by. Hope you have a good rest of your morning, afternoon, evening, whatever time it is for you, and I'll see you later. Bye bye.